Me blaze the fire out again, again and again. Jaagwan find the mic stand again. Jaagwan sa make us a Hit it once, hit it twice, hit it twice again. Hit it 4 times, 5 times and again. Hit it once, hit it twice, hit it twice again. Hit it 4 times, 5 times and again. I say again and again, again, again and again.
Om Namah Shivaya, Asanist Fire here on the way of Dharma. Let me check something quickly, I'm sorry. Most of my videos actually have this same formula for starting out. Let me check this, let me do that, let me do that. Om Namah Shivaya, Asanist Fire here on the way of Dharma. This is a channel where we talk about spirituality, we talk about meditation, we talk about mantras, we talk about witchcraft, we talk about witches and wizards and all that freaky stuff. Among the topics we cover are African spirituality, Western magic practice, Hermeticism, and many other left-hand practices that you might be acquainted with. So yes, for those of you who are new to this channel, please make sure that you do subscribe. For those of you who are returning viewers, welcome back, and the new ones also welcome. You are most welcome. And make sure that you do like, because I'm definitely sure that you will like this video. For our topic today, we are going to talk about a very interesting piece of art, a work of greatness, and it is also the greatest spiritual teaching of all, which is currently in front of our eyes, basically. So stay tuned to learn of this greatest spiritual mystery. Before we continue, please be aware that I do sell bangles of different metals which vary from copper, brass, and silver. The benefits have been mentioned in my previous video, and with that being said, I will not dwell further on it. I also sell jap malas, which are used for chanting. These are actually 108 beads, which are what is supposed to be prescribed for mantra chanting. These things help you with keeping track of your chants and keeping track of the count of your chants. So this is very important. I sell these at a price. This one is particular and very dear to my heart because it's a jap mala of Devi Bagalamuki, and there's also a jap mala of the planet Venus. Hence you see it is made of turmeric or turmeric, which is a sacred plant, a herb in Vedic culture, and it is being used in most of their Indian dishes. So basically this is what it is, the haldi mala. There's other malas that I've shown you in other videos, which have different purposes and different applications for different rituals, you understand? So different jap malas would be for different rituals. So basically I sell all those jap malas. You can contact me on my email at arsenest.fya@gmail.com. You can also contact me for consultations and numerological readings on that email. It's arsenest.fya@gmail.com. Now we move into our topic now. What exactly is our topic? What are we discussing today? We are discussing the great spiritual teaching from the game or the PlayStation video game series, which is called God of War, we go into the character of Kratos and who exactly is Kratos and what does it mean for us who are on a spiritual path. Om Namah Shivaya. So before we even go into Kratos, I'm going to talk about a god of gods, the powerful Michael Jackson, famously known as Michael Jackson. That guy was and is a god. Peace be unto him and ashe to him, basically. So much greatness he has achieved in this lifetime. We are left here behind, still speaking of Michael Jackson. Our children are dancing to tunes of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is still the biggest thing on this planet as a black person. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Shri Michael Jackson. Jai Shri Michael Jackson. So yes, guys, Michael Jackson is very, very powerful. Imagine what impact he would have had on us African people if he had maintained his complexion, he had maintained his African features. Just imagine him in the video Dirty Diana dancing the way he was dancing, dressing up as a rock star, maybe having dreadlocks or even having his afro. Imagine how much of an impact it would have on us African people. We would aspire to be what he was, but because of his frequency hijack, we couldn't relate to Michael Jackson. They did it knowingly that when they alter his complexion, when they alter his features, we wouldn't relate to him. So Michael Jackson relates more to the white people than he does to us black people. You find little children, white children, and other Asian children saying that they want to become like Michael Jackson, and their parents saying to them that they are or they can attain to becoming like Michael Jackson. You see duplicates of him in Asia, of Chinese people modifying themselves to look like Michael Jackson, and it's much easier for them to relate because of the complexion. So imagine how much of an impact it would have had on us black children. Seeing Michael Jackson controlling and influencing a huge crowd of people, people crying and falling at their feet and fainting at his presence, at his mere presence. Imagine what it would have done for us black people. So guys, Michael Jackson is a very, very significant figure in our spirituality. And also I'd like to voice out another spiritual figure that they hijacked from us, that they stole from us. They stole Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau is a voodoo practitioner from Haiti, or is it New Orleans? I forgot. But he's a voodoo practitioner, very, very powerful voodoo priestess, was able to perform miracles, and is basically the master of witchcraft and voodoo, basically. Maybe she also was practicing Obia, because it's literally the same thing, but she was a high priestess in that art. When you Google online, when you check pictures of Marie Laveau, you see Marie Laveau having a fair complexion. She's fair-skinned and having features more like or resembling the white people. Now, guys, it's bewildering to behold this fact, because when I first saw this, even I, in my mind, had a doubt that Marie Laveau was maybe a fair-skinned person, maybe a mixed race looking person, but Marie Laveau is in actuality a black woman, a black goddess who was hijacked, who is a master and high priestess of voodoo practices, of witchcraft and wizardry, basically. So Jai Shri Marie Laveau. Also, we have a Swamiji Trailanga over there at the back. Jai Shri Swamiji Trailanga. We also have Swami Satyananda, who I revere so much and look up to because of his teachings. Om Shri Jai Shri Swami Satyananda Yay Namaha. So yes, guys, let's continue on our topic of Kratos. Now, the characters that I've mentioned before, they fit very well into my story. So it's not a digression per se, or a straying out of topic as it would seem, basically. So notice how much these people have been revered or are being revered currently. Even in their death, their names live on forever. These people, by the practices that they were doing here on earth, they've attained a certain form of hero worship and idolism, basically, which in actuality propels them further into a higher existence and a higher vibration. So Michael Jackson is in actuality a god in the astral plane or in the higher planes because of the energy he was able to get from the people that were venerating him through listening to his music, through worshiping him, and actually idolizing him and looking up to him. Wherever attention goes, energy flows. When you look up to Michael Jackson, inevitably so, he gets exalted to a higher position. When we look up to Marie Laveau, she gets exalted to a higher position. She becomes a goddess, basically. So that's basically what is a goddess and a god. Somebody who has been venerated and worshipped and idolized over a long period of time to a point whereby they attain a level of godhood, basically, and they are able to become a god or a goddess because of that. So Kratos, the character Kratos, is a very, very powerful one because he, in God of War, is in actuality becoming a god of war from being a normal soldier, a Spartan soldier, to becoming a god of war and then seeking further offices and further attainments along the way as he goes along the way. So the story of Kratos begins as a soldier who has a family and then is fighting in wars, basically, because that's what a soldier does. And then he goes on to lose his family, and then he did a pact with the god of war to lose his family and become victorious in war. So he later on finds out that the god of war actually doesn't stick to his side of the deal and breaks the deal. So Kratos becomes angry at the god of war and starts seeking to destroy the god of war. He then goes on and goes on and goes on. As he goes on, he wears the ashes of his dead family, his late family, basically. What does the ash symbolize in this instance? The ash symbolizes Vibhuti. Let me show you something. The ash symbolizes Vibhuti, which is in actuality holy ash. Which is in actuality holy ash. Looks familiar now. Looks familiar now. So yes, guys, holy ash is in actuality Vibhuti. It's been a while since I've actually done this. So yes, holy ash symbolizes Vibhuti, and also holy ash will be available on purchase in a few weeks, basically. I'll talk about what I'll be offering you as a holy ash and what are some of the applications that you can use for it, for the holy ash that I'm preparing for you guys. So yes, guys, the holy ash, Vibhuti, means one who has attained a level of spirituality. a siddha basically. So it is also a form or a symbol of renunciation. So you are above attachments, you are above a stage of having a household life, of being a householder, a stage of being a family person, or a one person who is seeking after material acquisition and material comforts. So you become a vibhuti or a vibhuta. So when you attain that level, you basically use ash from the cremation grounds as an aghori to symbolize the level of attainment you have reached. So the ash from the cremation grounds symbolizes the ultimate place where basically you change from becoming a human being to a spiritual being. You die from your human existence to becoming a spiritual being. So it is a symbol of spiritual evolution. So Kratos, by wearing the ashes of his late family, now indicates, okay, I'm feeling my third eye, it's vibrating now. I'm feeling dizzy because of the holy ash. So yes, guys, he indicates that he no longer seeks material pursuits. He's changing his path from material acquisition to the path of spiritual renunciation. So he wears the holy ash to symbolize that. So his path changes from being a soldier to being what? A spiritual aspirant. And then what happens? Guys, I'm drinking water in here. You can even check. It's warm water. Make sure that you do drink warm water each and every morning before you eat breakfast. So he becomes a spiritual seeker, a spiritual aspirant. And then what does he do? He pursues the first god who betrayed him. And then he does what? He slays that god and gets to have his position as the god of war, whereby he gets certain boons and certain gifts of spiritual power or supernatural powers bestowed upon him. After those gifts get bestowed upon him, he reaches a level of godhood. And then he realizes that, okay, this journey, I can actually become more than a god. And how does he realize this? So he realizes this after being a god and having someone betray him. You understand? So having someone betray him in the sphere of the gods, and also being an enemy of Zeus, basically. Zeus is what? In other cultures they call him Jupiter, but let me make this simple enough. Zeus is in actuality the demiurge. Zeus is in actuality the god Yahweh, the jealous god, the one who doesn't want people to attain to godhood and higher spiritual sciences. So that's Zeus actually. So he becomes an enemy of Zeus, and then along the way something happens to him, he gets betrayed, and then those spiritual gifts get taken away from him. Now he has to go back and actually attain to that level. So as he goes back in God of War 2, he has no powers. So now he has to fight Colossus, the great statue god who was fighting with him in the beginning. So he fights, and then he goes on to meet what? Another warrior or a soldier he had met before in battle, basically. And then he discovers that this person has been resurrected from the dead, and he actually fights him. and it's challenging for him, and then he ends up defeating him. So basically, he goes on and conquers many other gods. And then when he does so, there's God of War 3. I think in God of War 2, yes, if I remember correctly, when I was playing it, you reach a level whereby you fight with the god Zeus. And then instead of dying, something happens and now he ran away, basically. So now you go to God of War 3, and then you come with who? The Titan mother, Gaia. Gaia is a Titan, a very significant figure, which is in actuality the Prakriti, the Shakti, divine power of the feminine force, helping him in his journey of ascension, in ascending and fighting the demigods, basically. So in God of War 3, it is shown as him going with Gaia, or seeking the help of Gaia, to actually destroy the god Zeus, and then it goes on even further. I don't know how far it goes on, but I know eventually it reaches a point whereby he kills a Titan god. So guys, there's basically the level of demigods, and there's a level of Titan gods, the ones that come before the gods, the primordial energy that comes before the gods. So in Hinduism, we have devas and devatas. Devatas are the demigods. So when you go ascend, you reach the stage of devatas, of demigods, and then you all ascend higher into the level of the higher gods, which are the gods that predate the demigods, basically. So as you go and ascend up higher, it becomes subtler and subtler, going back to the more original energy, because creation, as it slows down its vibration, it becomes more dense, and it has many other avatars, basically, that would be accessible to the normal everyday person. You might have noticed, and I was speaking with someone on this yesterday, the Sattvic deities like Devi Mahalakshmi is in actuality Sattvic, and comes or rules over certain demigods and demigoddesses. For one, she rules over Friday, basically, and rules over the Lord Shukra, basically. So Shukra is more of a tamasic nature as opposed to Mahalakshmi. So, and also rules over Kubera. So you get much faster results, much potent, faster tamasic results when working with the planet Lord Shukra, when working with the Deva Kubera. You get better results as opposed to working with the Sattvic energy of Mahalakshmi, because it's a higher force. It's much more subtle, and it's not closer to this plane of physical existence as it would be with the aforementioned demigods, basically. So as you go up higher, you reach a subtler force and a subtler nature. As he destroys the god of war, he then moves on to destroy a titan, a much more sattvic entity, much more sattvic than the demigods. So the story in the Greek mythology, it says that first, when the titans ruled, and then they gave birth to the demigods, and then the demigods later on went to destroy the titans and take rulership over them. This can be seen in God of War, where Zeus enslaves the titans. It's also symbolic of what's happening right now. Our souls, were tricked into coming into this earth in some other stories like Gnosticism and stories like the Enuma Elish, where we talk of the great mother Tiamat being trapped in a physical vessel and being tricked by the lesser gods who are Enki and Enlil, basically. And there's a demiurge god, Marduk or Marduk, basically. So, what am I saying? In the Greek mythology, it is said that these demigods tricked the Titans and then enslaved the Titans, led by Zeus. So Zeus is in actuality a demiurge figure, a jealous god. He wanted to be worshipped. So he's constantly suppressing and fighting with the people who are aspiring to be higher in vibration, higher spiritual figures. So he also fights against the Titans and is a jealous god and wants to be worshipped him and him alone. So Kratos goes on to destroy a Titan, and then when you destroy a Titan, you take on that figure and that office and that attainment of a Titan. You become a Titan, basically. So what does it say? In books by Swamiji Shivananda, he also makes reference to this. Seek moksha, because moksha is the eternal goal or the end goal. Let me tell you something about what happens to your soul after death. When you die, having a low vibration, there's higher states of consciousness and higher states of vibration, which are called heavens. And there's lower vibrations and lower states of consciousness, which are called hells. So depending on your karma, everyone has a dual karma here on earth. You have good deeds and bad deeds, good karma, bad karma. So when you die, you first exhaust your karmas before you can come back to earth. So your soul undergoes the bad karma, and then when it gets exhausted from the lower planes, you are left with the good karma, which is then exhausted in the higher planes, the heavenly planes. So after your karma has been exhausted, you will come to earth depending on the lesson that you have to learn, basically. Or you will go to a higher plane or a higher planet depending on what you are supposed to learn, basically. So your contract will be based on that, upon the return in the next life, basically. So in those different states, there's different entities, basically. I've come across an article talking about the Apsara. The Apsara are tall entities who live up to 300 years, I think, even more, I think. So in this article, this Apsara gave this person a darshan, meaning a vision, and then she appeared to this person, telling the guru, basically, the Hindu Indian guru, not just any person. So yes, guys, and tells the guru about the life of the Apsaras and gives some of the knowledge. So apparently our human body was designed to actually live more than 300 years, 600 years to be exact. In some cases and some stories, it is said that our human body can actually live long, up until 7,000 years. This was actually stated in the Black Roots Science book by one of our African griot brothers, a spiritual seeker, a spiritual aspirant. So basically, what is the purpose for living long? The spiritual attainment that comes along with living long, basically. What comes? In my short years of being this number of years, I don't know if I should disclose that, but as you can see, most of you, I'm a young person. I was able to attain so much knowledge from the internet and through various other sources, basically. The knowledge that I've attained is a mere fraction. But I think when compared to the average person, I have enormous amounts of knowledge, basically, not to boast, basically. So in this short period of time of less than 3 decades, I was able to attain knowledge, basically. So imagine if I were to live up to 1,000 years, I'd complete most of my sadhana, most of my spiritual practices, leaving me with no or less karma to come back here, basically. So the length of time was designed for spiritual purposes. So what then happened? When we were trapped in this body by these jealous gods, we were then done what? Our lifespan was shortened to prevent us from getting out of this cycle of birth and death. And there's siddhas and yogis that were able to prolong their lives to that of 1,000 years so that he could be able to do what? To reach enlightenment in this lifetime, basically, instead of coming back many times. So when you die, you exhaust your good karma and your bad karma, and then you come back. It's an anchor pulling you down. But then it becomes different when you are a god. When you are a god or a goddess, you live in those heavenly planes. There's no moksha, there's no karma of coming back, there's no spiritual seeking, basically. So these entities get comfortable in what they are in, basically. A level of causality which is much higher than that of the humanity. So they get stuck in those places, they enjoy those places. So it is also said in the article that I was talking to you about by that Indian guru that the Apsaras hate the idea of moksha, which is liberation, getting out of that cycle, because how they are living is actually comfortable and blissful. They have everything they desire. So everything that they desire is given to them easier and easily. So they don't want to aspire to something higher or moksha, failing to understand that moksha is the ultimate end goal, is the ultimate true liberation and freedom. So they don't like such ideas. So there's such gods and goddesses that are opposed to that idea of liberation. So they like where they are. As a human being, as a soul, you are afforded the chance to do what? To go further into freedom and liberation, away from life and death and birth and death, basically. So you are afforded that chance. You have the power within you to attain to a level higher than that of the gods, the demigods, the demigoddesses, and the goddesses, basically. So that's what I was trying to tell you by talking to you in this video that I'm talking to you about when talking about this subject of Kratos. It's a very, very high occult concept of liberation, because he teaches you that no, you cannot just be comfortable by becoming a god, because even among the gods there's human traits, there's traits of lower vibration. They can betray you, they can promise you something and not deliver. So as a human soul, you can aspire to the higher states of consciousness, which are in actuality ultimate freedom and absorption back into the Parabrahman or the true Godhead. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've derived benefit from this channel, and I'm very, very grateful for this many subscribers subscribing to the channel and following. And I'd like to thank the people that I've been having consultations and readings with. I don't know if I'm able to mention your name, but I'm very, very thankful, and I'm very, very appreciative for that, basically. So for those of you who continue or who would like to have readings and consultations with me, link me up at arsenist.fya@gmail.com. We will talk there, and then I will give you my WhatsApp number, and then we will do the consultations and the readings. And for those of you who also want to order, link me up at the email arsenist.fya@gmail.com, and then you can order your product, and it will be then delivered to you. We will be communicating on WhatsApp upon the arrival of your product, not upon, basically, on the arrival or the progress of your product, and the tracking process and all that stuff. So please, guys, do check me out on arsenist.fya@gmail.com. If you haven't subscribed this far, by chance you maybe got access to my videos through maybe a video premiere, you catching this now, please make sure that you do subscribe and then replay the video to actually derive benefit. For future topics, you can leave comments in the comment section below. If you have any questions, leave comments in the comment section below. Om Namah Shivaya, Arsenist Fire, here on The Way of Dharma.